I'm Evelyn Risley for TechCrunch TV here with Chamillionaire. Thanks so much. So, the title of the panel and of a few reports today was, why you're here, and you talked about that. And one of the things you said was that, the real question is why isn't everyone else here?
Yeah.
And you've been to a lot of tech conferences, and one of the last conferences we did was Disrupt. And I got a chance to talk to Bieber's manager and Lady Gaga's manager, and they said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And yet there's still this gulf between the front line of technology and the music industry. So why do you think there's no progress on that?
I think, it's not because people don't want to be here. It's not because they don't want the information. It's just, it's designed that way for the major companies keep so much information away from the actual artist because information is power. Once you're able to, get rid of the record company and get directly to consumers and get directly to companies, that's not good for their business. So, all these companies and tech companies that go to these conferences, they don't come and talk to us because they don't know how to get to us, so they go to the companies, and the companies don't trickle it down to us. I always have the saying that, if you're at if you go to college, and you go to college for 5 years, you're gonna leave knowing a whole lot. If you go to a record company for 5 years, you're gonna leave not knowing much, because they don't want you to know anything. They want to do a lot of the stuff for you, and then when you leave, they don't want you to be powerful enough to compete with them almost.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a crazy thing, but I think it takes more people like me actually coming and understanding this world is here. There's so many companies, a whole list of them. You'll be seeing all these companies, and I'm like, wow, I'm sick that I just didn't know about a lot of this stuff earlier because, I've been seeing some crazy, companies.
Yeah. So on stage, you talked to Mike, and you said, that it would be interesting to kind of bring together your friends and Mike's friends. So why don't we get that done? Why can't we have some kind of music tech conference?
I don't know if I necessarily would make it like a music thing though, because once you stereotype it like that, then people that they're gonna think it's about music. We still want to talk to tech people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want people that's in my world to have conversations with these tech people so we can understand how these people can help you and how you can help them. And to me, a lot of people will come to me and try to offer me money or offer me this. They think I'm like trying to secretly invest and stuff, but really I just want the information because the information helps me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the main thing that I really, really want from people. I want information. And I think this information would be so valuable to so many other people that they could actually know where their industry is going, and then also know and be able to show people ways that they can help them. Like, I think there's so many companies out there that don't even realize how, there's this guy on Twitter they'll bump into and have no idea who he is. He's a rapper, he's got 1.5 million followers, and they're like, who is this guy? They have no idea the audience that he's speaking to.
Yeah.
When I hear these companies talk about their audience that they're trying to, reach and the demographic, there's a lot of people that are influencers in my world that actually could easily get that demographic for you. And then this company ends up failing because they couldn't accomplish their goal, but there was a lot of people that could have helped with that.
So who do you think are some of the people that you think get it when it comes to the music industry, whether that's, whatever genre it is? I mean, who do you see as kind of the front edge, who actually understands what's going on, who goes to some of the tech conference, or if not, at least feels pretty plugged into the scene?
Well, I never see will.i.am at any tech conferences or anything, but I hear his name a lot globally when I travel across the world. And I actually was watching CNN like during the election, and they did this first time like hologram, and I was like,
that was kind of cheesy.
That was like, but the fact that he actually did that on CNN during the, that's powerful. How do you pull that off? Like, what manager calls CNN and says, yeah, I want will.i.am to hologram morph itself and do an interview? Like, that's big. And I've never seen that technology before. That was the first time seeing it. So, I've been going across the world and I talk to different tech companies and everybody will be like, oh, will.i.am was just here, or I talked to will.i.am's manager, and I'm like, wow, this guy gets around globally, not just locally, So
have you had a chance to talk to him?
Yeah, I actually have. A while back during the time when my single was out, we were backstage at a show, and he comes up to me and taps me, and I'm like looking, and then I'm like, oh, this is will.i.am. And he's like, hey, man, I really want to work with you. And he was telling me that, and I was like, oh, man, I just told him I was a fan, and then I actually watched their show, and I had performed, but their show was just so crazy that it was like a game changer for me, where I was like, oh, I got to step it up, because like the other day he posted something on Twitter and he had himself in like a glowing outfit. Like, I was like, what is this? Like, he takes it to another level, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe eventually you'll get into the hologram game. But you talked about Spotify quite a bit. You talked about how, you know, people in your industry, they know about Napster, but they don't know about Spotify, and that's what they should know because it is a game-changing kind of technology or business model, and maybe not Spotify specifically, but that kind of structure. So where do you see the business model for the music industry? I mean, you're kind of going through a period of transition yourself. You're not going to be releasing your next album via Universal, so you must be thinking about the ways, different avenues. So how do you see this changing?
To me, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can do it. You could actually go out and do market research. Like back in the days when I dropped mixtapes, I used to drop the mixtapes and put all these different versions of different Chamillionaire songs on them just so the consumer would tell me what they liked.
Yeah.
So now I'm kind of in that same space when it comes to different ways to release music. There's so many different ways you can do it, but I think it needs to be more of a case study that I need to start doing to see what's going to be more effective for me. Because what's effective for me might not be the same, be as effective for somebody else. So, but I still think that you don't necessarily need the major machine no more because the major machine doesn't act like a major machine like it used to. Now, if it does, then it definitely can be a valuable thing. I made a lot of money. I sold ringtones, you know, digital downloads globally, stuff I would have never been able to do independent. But at this point, the business model has changed and they're trying to adjust. They don't even know what to do. They're firing everybody. So I don't know, man. Companies like Spotify, and I think they have competition that's like RDO or radio. And it's very scary, man. I see that's where this industry is going, and so many of my peers don't know about these companies, and I'm seeing it like, wow, this is really gonna hurt some feelings when it makes it to the U.S.
Ripe for disruption.
Yeah.
You've been to several TechCrunch type of events. Recently, you were at the Crunch Up, and you and Mike kind of have this interesting rapport, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the story of that? Like, what do you think of Mike? How'd you guys meet? What's the backstory here?
I actually like how Mike is just so straight to the point, man. It's kind of a little weird, man. When I first met him, I didn't know if he was serious or not. I thought it was kind of like just his like little gimmick or whatever.
I think we had the same thoughts.
Yeah, and I was like, you know, and then when he like he would be so straight to the point, but I actually. It's refreshing for me, you know what I'm saying? Some people can't deal with it, but because in my industry, a lot of people are just yes man, they just talk and they just say whatever and they tell you whatever. If Mike doesn't like something, right there, you know it, you know what I mean? And I thought that was kind of cool, so I would be giving little jabs to him and he'd give them back to me, and I was like, you know what, I like this guy because he's not always just so, you know, Chamillionaire, you're the greatest and everything, you know. He does it after I get off a panel, but then if I do something wrong, I think he's the type that would tell me, you know?
He will.
I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool, you know?
Yeah, so your next album, we know it's not going to be on Universal. Can you tell us if it's going to be, you know, kind of tech-inspired? Are we going to see kind of any influence of tech in there?
I look at stuff like, man, there's got to be a new way to do this. Like, everybody's trying to figure out a new way to do this. I look at a company like, you know, I talk about Zynga a lot, right? They've got people that are buying games. I mean, buying and paying for games.
Do you play Farmville?
No, I don't play Farmville, but I play Mafia Wars, though.
Okay.
I got Mafia Wars, so.
Too cool for Farmville.
I don't know about chickens and all that stuff, but I understand why people want it because at first I didn't believe it, and I was like, man, what is this? People are buying fake stuff? Like, I just couldn't understand that. Why would they want to spend money on real stuff? And then when I went to the game, Mafia Wars, and I was playing it, I see how addictive it is and how it sends you updates, and you just want to raise up your ego kind of makes you want to purchase, you know?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, looking at how many users it has and how good the sales are and how well it does and how many people across Facebook platforms are using this. And I was like, there's got to be a way if music's going to be free to attach it to stuff like that. You know what I mean? There's got to be a way. You know, I just think there's some kind of dialogue that needs to be said about that. And maybe there's some kind of new business model there. I don't know, but I'm here to figure it out, you know?
Chamillionaire Wars, look out for it in 2011.
For sure.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Appreciate it.